Hey Exploration Nation, today we're back in the North Georgia mountains and we're headed for the site of a plane crash or an emergency landing. I'm thinking it's more of emergency landing, but I'll show you what I'm talking about. I kind of think that the investigators may have gotten this wrong as to the cause of it. The plane went down in 2007. Unfortunately, the pilot did not make it. So we're going to check it out. I'll show you what I'm talking about a few things I found when I was here before. In the meantime, we're just going to enjoy the scenery. It's a very nice fall day, unseasonably warm in the mid-70s, and it's just a few days before the end of October, and the leaves seem to be at their peak. So here we go. This is definitely a favorite time of year. Now come next week, temperatures are going to become more seasonal. So I figured that if I was going to show this to you, that today would be about the last opportunity to do so. I don't mind the cold weather, but 75 degrees I don't mind either. One of my favorite things in the fall is to see the leaves catching the sunlight. I never do get tired of this. In this particular area, I've been hiking many times, and I'm not tired of seeing it yet, so I don't think I ever will get tired of it. As you can see, a lot of the leaves have hit the ground, but there's still quite a few left. More leaves catching the sunlight right there. So I'll get on up here where I'm going to leave the road and check back with you. So I will see you there. Alright, we have arrived at the departure point from the road. We came up the road, as you saw. We're going in there. And it's tough going from here on out. And the woods aren't all that thick. It's just that there's so many briars back there, it's ridiculous. I wish I had a machete to do a little bushwhacking, but I don't. So we'll just make do with what we got. And we got here to road closed, do not block gate. Looks like somebody tried to flatten the gate at some point. But first order of business is, well, if I can get that right, okay, is take a compass reading. As I remember, the heading is about 300 degrees, I believe. So when going off trail, I always take a compass reading. I was wrong about the compass heading. Okay, taking compass reading, which is always a good idea when you're leaving a trail. And I would not recommend doing this unless you've got a lot of hiking experience, because even with a compass, you can get in trouble by doing so. So do not attempt this, okay? The reason I've done this, doing this today, is because I have done this so many times that being in the woods is not a problem when there's no trail. But it takes a lot of experience, practice, a lot of saying, hey, wrong way. All right, and it's almost due west from here. So the compass heading is about 260 degrees, so we'll remember that. If I had due west, won't go wrong, should put me close to it. This is about the best place. Not a great place, but this little area right here is about the best place to get in. It looks like right over here is the path of least resistance. So yes, it's thick back here. Pretty, but thick. Still trekking up the hill. We got to go to the top of that ridge right there in that direction. So once we get to the top of the ridge, then we will be going down the other side a little bit in order to get to it. So just wanted to show you what this is like back here. Now don't worry, I know where I am. It's not a problem. I'm not lost. Although it looks like it. But I promise I'm not lost. So, alright, onward, upward, let's go. Well, we're very close. Just wanted to give you a quick look around where we are. That's the direction that we came from right there. Well, more or less that way. Out that way is the direction we came. We've come across the face of the mountain here in order to follow the path of least resistance. And so far it hasn't been too bad. And of course, the number one rule of exploring anything is there's always a better way to get there than the way you went. And I found the better way today, because I'll tell you what, the way I came when I first came here was ridiculous. I was literally up to my knees and hips in briars the whole way. But this hasn't been too bad. And here's the view off the mountain. You can't see too much, but the fall colors are pretty. And I enjoy it. and that's down the side of the mountain right there. And the plane is somewhere that way, so that's the direction we will be going in order to go find it again. But still a very pretty day, very nice. As I said before, about 75 degrees, and that is perfect. All right, well, onward. Let's go. I'll check back in with you when we get there. Well, we made it. Here it is. And this is always quite a hike to get back here, but at any rate, this is the plane that ended up here on April 26, 2007. Now, I have several questions about it, but I will preface it by saying I am not an experienced accident investigator, so I could have this totally wrong. But I'll point out a few things that I think they might have been mistaken on, but then again, maybe not. So let's go ahead and take a look. This is kind of tricky footing here, especially with the leaves on the ground. But here's the plane, November 9247 Tango. And it went down on the afternoon of April 26, 2007. Now, the NTSB report says that the pilot was flying in instrument meteorological conditions, cloud cover, in other words, overcast skies, and he was trying to fly visual flight rules instead of instrument flight rules. And that was the probable cause of the accident. He flew into the side of the mountain because he couldn't see where he was going and couldn't see the mountains. Now, that is possible. That happens from time to time. And so the technology on board this plane may or may not have been updated. I don't know. There is technology out there that gives terrain warnings and is available to general aviation pilots. But this aircraft was built in 1978. And it's a little Piper Tomahawk. And I don't know how updated the avionics were. The investigators, of course, pulled the avionics and the engine, so that's not available to us in order to see if it was updated or not. But the manufacturing date, 1978. So that may or may not have been. First question that I had was that the plane seems to be in more or less intact condition for him to just fly into the side of the mountain. Of course, the tail section there is broken, but if you notice, that section is in one piece, and tail section is in one piece. And since it's not really crunched into one combined little areas in a straight in, or an extended debris field, this kind of looks like that he may have experienced a medical emergency in the air and tried to put it down where he could, which in trees like this is a very low percentage shot, obviously, but there's not any place to land in a pasture field or anything within miles and miles of here. As you can see, there's nothing but mountains. So that was my first question, is why is the plane in as good a shape as it is? I mean, even it's destroyed, yeah, but why is it in this kind of condition? Now over there, I don't know if you can see it from here, it looks like he hit that tree right there. The tail section probably hit. I don't know. I don't think the front end hit because it's not crunched in or anything showing any kind of impact, but it looks like maybe the tail section hit that tree over there. You can see some very old scarring. See if I can point it out. I'm not very good at this. Right there and right above the body of the plane, right there. And so apparently impacted that tree. Now, there's some things about the position of the controls inside. We'll get to that in a minute. He was flying from Cornelia, Georgia to Cincinnati, Ohio, and this is an experienced pilot. He had over 3,000 hours of flight time total, and he had called to get a weather report, and the forecast was for thunderstorms headed his way, and of course it was overcast all the way around, just a bad day. So I don't know where he had felt like he had to go, but I think I read somewhere that he was licensed as a commercial airline pilot, so I don't know. He may have had to get to work. Cincinnati may have been where his next flight was, and he had to get there. But whatever the case may be, weather was not good. It was bad. And he said that he told them that he would call back later after he figured out the best way to go, and he never did call back. So apparently he just went ahead and took off. Now, the trouble with the flying into the side of the mountain theory is that Cornelia, Georgia, is back that way. That's the ridge we came up and over. It's due east of here. The airplane is resting on the west side of the mountain. So if he was flying from Cornelia to Cincinnati, to me it would make sense that the wreckage would most likely have ended up on the east face of the mountain, not over here. Now, there is a possibility he could have gotten disoriented in the clouds, and that was that. That's possible. Spatial disorientation is what that's called. So, let's head on down and take a little bit closer look if I can get there without really busting it. And these leaves really make this kind of tricky right here. All right. Now, as I said before, the engine was removed by the NTSB. They said that there was no mechanical problem with the engine at all. So that wouldn't have been the in-flight emergency that he had, if there was one. Now let's take a look in here at the controls. And I apologize that this isn't going very smoothly. Believe you me, it's a whole lot less smooth out here trying to do this. Okay, see if I can take a look at this. Alright. Hope you can see that better than I can. If I'm missing the mark here, I've got pictures I can put up on the screen and show a better shot of this. But the black knobbed control on the left is the throttle. And as you can see, it is all the way down, which is closed. Now, I would think that that would be open to however it would be, whatever position it would be in for flying. And I don't know how far open that would be. I don't think it'd be wide open, but who knows. I don't think it would be closed like that, but that's all the way closed. Alright. Another thing is the foot pedals. Now this controls the rudder on the plane, and as you can see, the right rudder is depressed all the way down, which would indicate full right rudder. Now, it's possible that something got damaged in here on the impact and caused that pedal position, so we'll consider that possibility. Now, the larger control there that's pointing to the left of the 12 o'clock position is the fuel tank selection. He was on his left tank when the accident occurred, and this is the trim wheel, and I can't tell how he had it trimmed, or after all this time, if there's a way to tell. Now that control right there that looks like a parking brake controls the flaps, and when it's pulled all the way up like that, then the flaps are down, which to me would indicate that he was trying to land somewhere, or you won't be flying along, cruising, whatever you want to call it, with your flaps down. So that's another question. Now another thing is that the landing gear, which was fixed landing gear underneath where I'm sitting, and I'll try to get you a shot of that so you can see it, appears to be undamaged. And normally, impacting the ground like this, the landing gear would be damaged. So far, I think we have a very low speed impact. And so far, getting up from here. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if we can get around where we can see that flap. The wing here was obliterated on impact, so you can't tell what position the flaps are in from this one. But if I can work my way around here without ending up in Chattanooga, that would be awesome. Alright, as you can see, that flap over there is down. So, all of these things, just by themselves, to me wouldn't mean much. It could have been the impact causing some of the positioning of some of these controls, the removal of the engine, things of that nature. But when you put it all together, along with the airplane is not either in a million pieces or just scattered from here to Kingdom Come, coming in basically parallel to the side of the mountain like that, it just raises a few questions as to the cause. All right, now there's some more of the wreckage down the mountain right there. And I'll do my best not to end up down the mountain myself. All right. And I think that is the best way to go around where I want to go. I don't know. There is no good way. Okay, here's another shot of more of the wreckage. And here's part of one of the fuel tanks, it looks like. Says have gas only, grade 1 OLL. Okay, there's one of the wheels, rear main landing gear, one of them. And as you can see, it's still intact. Which, like I said, is further indicative to me of a very low speed impact. Slower than you would normally be flying. Anyway, I would think. Alright, now back here is a shot of the rudder. Now, as you can see, the rudder is in the opposite direction than what the foot pedals show. So, it's entirely possible that the impact did that. The cables are stretched around the corner of that where the brake is. So, you know, could well be that that's why the rudder pedals are down on the right side. Here's a shot of the manufacturer's plate. And there's the other landing gear. As you can see, it's still intact. So I've just got some questions about it. Closer look at the scarring on the tree. Up there and down here. Well, what do you think? Do you think the NTSB may have missed it? Or do you think it's pretty much as they said as to what caused this? I'd be interested to know. Let me know in the comments below. I look forward to hearing your thoughts on it. Now, in case you're wondering why I have not mentioned the pilot's name, is because I don't have it. And every single report that I have read, the pilot's name is not mentioned at all. So I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything. I just don't have the pilot's name. So that's it for the poor little broken airplane, and especially for the family of whoever this was. My deepest sympathy and condolences to the family, because I know that he is still being missed to this day. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video. First, I want to thank you for watching my video thus far, and I just wanted to update some information that I had found since the video was done. And I found this additional information by just switching search engines. I had done a number of searches before trying to get some additional information other than the NTSB report without success. I switched search engines and a few things came right up. First off, the pilot's name was Sam Smiley. He was a businessman from Cincinnati, Ohio, so at the time of the accident, he was on his way home. His flight actually originated in Hilton Head Island, and so I figure that Cornelia was a refueling stop. And from Cornelia, he went on from there to the accident site, of course, not making it to Cincinnati. He was 78 years old at the time of the accident, and even though he was badly injured in the accident, he managed to pull himself out of the wreckage and activated his emergency locator transmitter. Now, I don't know if they're called ELTs now anymore or not, but it was an emergency transmitter at any rate that flashed the letters EMRG on radar scopes at the Federal Aviation Administration facility near Atlanta, Georgia. Now, it not only gave the fact that it was an emergency, but it also gave his general location as well. However, for the next almost 6 hours, this thing went off, but there wasn't any response. That was 2 days before rescuers arrived, and by that time, Mr. Smiley had passed away. Believe it or not, the mix-up on getting help to Mr. Smiley came in terminology of all things. The FAA air traffic manager reported to the Air Force that he had a signal from an emergency beacon. The Air Force uses the term emergency transponder. The Air Force believed the call was related to a different emergency signal south of Atlanta, so they didn't launch a search based on the difference of that one word. Now, the National Transportation Safety Board cited this case and 4 other accidents in a letter urging the FAA to tighten up on its procedures for reporting lost aircraft and getting the radar data quickly to the Air Force. The board said miscommunication, a lack of trained personnel, and other problems hindered rescue efforts. The NTSB placed most of the responsibility for the mix-up on the Air Force, but the board also said that the FAA manager should have realized that a search had not gotten underway when the Air Force controller did not reply that a case had been opened. After the manager made his report to the Air Force, FAA controllers continued to discuss the signal, but they didn't take further action because they believed it had been reported properly, which most people would. Report it to the proper authorities, and you figure that they would take it from there. Now, Mr. Smiley was reported missing by his family the day after the accident when he failed to arrive in Cincinnati. This was April 27th, and he crashed or made an emergency landing on April the 26th. And it was the day after his family reported him missing, April 28th, when he was found. The alert for his plane was sent to radar facilities the following day, including the Atlanta facility, but by that time there had been a shift change and the controllers on duty did not connect the alert to the previous day's emergency signal. Without a radar location to start from, Civil Air Patrol units from 4 states conducted the search to try to trace the plane's route. They finally located the wreckage on April 27th. So it was several errors and miscommunication that delayed rescue efforts, and whether it would have made any difference as to whether he was found in time to receive medical treatment and survive or not is unknown. Mr. Smiley's sister said that they may not have been able to get there in time, but at least he may not have had to pass away alone if things had gone the way they should have. When rescuers got there, they found Mr. Smiley had written a last note on an envelope to his wife before he passed away. My deepest sympathies and condolences to the Smiley family. I know he is missed to this day. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.